Calculate. 8. We elevate. 8. We innovate. But above all, we dominate. Happy Talk 100.4 FM at 8. Harari's heartbeat. Hashtag dominate.
Into a conversation around I do. So I was just thinking about it. I was having a conversation with a certain friend of mine. Aruchata mna January. Negati maredere. It just goes past the wedding day. It's not just about the day. You know what I'm saying? Are you guys ready for what they call marriage? Vakati ndofunga kuti tareti ayo ndinovimba kuti kana uriwo mauda kuitawo I do ready, because what we've learned over the years that we've had marriage and family matters sessions is that what happens on the wedding day azvidiki pane zvamunosangana nazvo mungwanaro, because just that one day, but you have the rest of your lives to figure things out. Uvabapiwa certificate musati mambo pass chirongwa chacho choiwanana. So it's an interesting conversation that we are touching on tonight. From I do to we adjust. Hashtag the secret to longevity. I think the fairy tale promises a lifetime of I do, but I think the reality is built on 1,000 tiny we adjust moments. So many times we've had to adjust. Chimboweyo pa WhatsApp platform yenyu kuti mutudze kuti how many times did you adjust, you know, because pane zvawaifunga kuti marriage should be like this, and then it was not bodo handizvo, and you had to adjust your mindset. You walk down the aisle with a blueprint for life, a set of expectations we've absorbed probably from movies, family, or just pure hope. But what happens when that blueprint gets shredded by reality? When rigid expectations collide with an unpredictable life. So today in Marriage and Family Matters, we are tearing down the myth of the perfect marriage and talking about what actually makes a partnership last. From I do to we adjust. Hashtag the secret to longevity. As usual, we have Grandmaster Coach Duri to help us unpack some of the blind spots. Coach, good evening, and thank you so much for joining us.
Yes, a very good evening, Glenda. To our wonderful listeners, yes, a very awesome evening. And so today, like you said, Glenda, December is fast coming by, and this is a month where, it's one wedding after another. And yes, the climax of any wedding is the phrase I do. And we are saying whether in sickness, in poverty, we are saying yes, I do. But I want to say that this I do is made up of some expectations that we do have. And we have gathered these expectations as we are being socialized. And like you did say, Glenda, so it could be how we are socialized at the family level, the movies, social media, the celebrities that we see on social media, even on the big screen as well. Some movies, they depict a very, powerful, interesting, enjoyable relationship in marriage. So then we pick a particular understanding. And I want to call it a mental blueprint, a psychological blueprint. So we have this, all of us. Even, yes, some of us, we got into marriage with that, And unfortunately, in as much as, those expectations are shaped by our culture, family models, religious beliefs, and as well as social media, and of course romantic ideals, we have been actually shocked by things not happening that way as we get into marriage. And it has really been very difficult to adjust now because reality hits. And when it does, you realize, this is not it. This is not what I really was expecting, that kind of thing. So, and then we say, Glenda, when you remain rigid, you see, at times we say, it has to happen this way. It must happen this way. And you remain fixated, in your mental blueprint, about marriage. You're saying it has to happen, and you're forcing things, So half the time, you find it very difficult. And of course, research is clear that there is need for some flexibility, where you want to say, no, this is not it. But however, how can we make the best out of these aspects of this marriage? And Glenda, I just want to share quickly things that we find, the common rigid expectation. So one of them is that happily ever after. And we are saying this is a fantasy. We believe that, once a marriage, particularly when that particular wedding is there and everyone songs, everyone is happy and everyone, and you are also happy about it. But it's the expectation of perpetual harmony and emotional fulfillment without conflict. That is what we think it will, marriage would be. But of course, we then realize that there's a lot of conflict, there's a lot of disagreement, there is maybe no harmony as well. Emotional fulfillment might also be absent in this particular marriage. But I want to say, so that is number one. Number two, fixed gender roles assumption that breadwinning must be done by the husband, and the other basic chores must be done by the wife. I call it breadwinner versus homemaker traditional roles. And we are saying, it's our feeling and it's our belief that this thing must happen like that. But that's the second aspect. And then predictable life trajectory. And here I talk about these stages of life that you see, once we get married, early marriage stages, you say yes, you are enjoying career development, career progression, and then you get into a stage where you are beginning to parent your kids, and so on, and you get into a midlife. And of course, it comes with midlife crisis, midlife events, and then you get into emptiness, and then so we believe that there is a linear path, Glenda, and these things happen like that. We believe that these things will happen like that, and of course, financial stability as well. We believe that because we are both, at work or in particular careers, so we will maintain financial stability. That's what we think. And then number four is emotional mind reading. So there's an assumption that your partner will automatically understand and meet your emotional needs. You see, during dating, there's an element of someone asking, so are you okay? Can I do this for you? And yes, they are meeting your emotional needs without you having to tell them. And you believe that this is what is going to be taking place even in marriage. And of course, this one, Glenda, is big for me, unchanging attraction. So we believe that, the same intensity of chemistry we had during the first days will remain there. And I want to say that expecting that passion and closeness to remain constant without effort and adaptation is also not a reality. It's a fallacy. And I also want to say, Glenda, issues to do with personality change as well. Something that also, got some rude awakening around that human beings change. And just between that age, a few years down the line, 10 years after marriage, a person changes. The personality, the character of the individual, Glenda, changes. And it changes because of natural phenomenon that we know as socialization. So when you were dating, maybe they were not they were not going to work. Now they are in a work environment. They pick up the culture at work. They pick up the corporate culture, and surely they don't remain the same. Human beings are very adaptive. When an environment shifts, the human being also shifts and changes and transforms to fit in that particular space. So there is that element of behavior change, transformational change. Is something that we have always thought it will remain the same. So these are the issues that we need to sort of focus on. And my question would be, in your marriage, what are the things that you expected will remain the same? And when they were not, then how did you shift a bit? So Glenda, that's how we want to start the program today.
Expectations versus reality. I want to quickly just grab your attention on 0719 100 404. When you got married, pattern we breadwinner versus homemaker. Mapinda muwanano shiwe ndo wanga wachiprovide. Zvobva zvangochinja. Ndiwe wa breadwinner somudzimai. How did that affect your marriage? Did it kana kuti you understood, seasons? And that things can shift, and were you in a position to comprehend the different setup that you got to see wa mwana? What I've seen, coach, iyo now yokuti pamwe tarorana shewe variwo vanowani, and then pamwe tarorana paya zvinhu zvobva zvaomera shewe, pamwe basa robva ratopera, zvinowanikwa ipo paya. How do you deal with that? Because dzimweni dzenguva ndinoona senge vanhu vanopinda muwanano vasiri prepared kuti things can quickly switch.
So Glenda, I want to share with you from very practical perspectives on that. I have had scenarios where I had to deal with I think a few cases around this, and it was not easy for me as their marriage coach. But what I realized, Glenda, to both parties, so in this particular case, the husband had a very powerful job, was an engineer outside the country, and the wife, of course, was in a commercial environment. But what happened was that in that particular country, the husband was sort of dismissed and they were deported. And when they were deported, I think the case also then sort of affected these associations, they get to communicate. So when the couple came back to Zimbabwe, there was a thinking that, just, quickly, you would actually get a job because, yes, his credentials were in good space. Tried to secure the job couldn't come. And one colleague then told him that, no, I think we have also been blacklisted here in Zim. Whatever happened in that country, it was communicated somehow, to this organization, this professional body that they belong to. So he was stuck. Literally stuck. So this is when I also came in. So the wife now was the sole breadwinner, and they had children. There was a young couple. There was children going to school, so there was a bit of pressure. So the wife didn't understand as well what was going through the husband. To him, the ego aspect, the inflated ego aspect of men was hitting hard on him, and he was almost in perpetual depression. But the wife wouldn't understand. He would say, why are you watching television all the time? And you can imagine, he couldn't actually go out, this guy, because, he was known, in their circles, as a person who was living that type of life. So because of shame, guilty, and all these things, he couldn't actually go out. And it was actually depression eating in him. But the wife couldn't understand. You're saying, why are you watching TV? You can't even go and pick up the children. There was a car. And imagine the wife is knocking off, say, at about 3, 4. She has to pick the kids, take them home. And the man is still in bed. And the conflict really escalated now. And what I discovered, Glenda, was that both parties were not understanding exactly what was going through. So the husband was trying to nurse his depression and anxiety all alone, while not also getting to understand what the wife was going through, because she had also pressure, societal pressure and anxiety as well, because colleagues and friends, would always say, so what's happening to your husband? So what happened? Why did you, come back from this particular country? And, it was never good at all. Until, we had to reach that point where each party now began to understand what was going through the other. And it was not easy, Glenda. Then the hubby had to pursue a particular program, different program altogether from what he had studied in his primary career, and eventually took up a secondary career, very different from what, but now they do understand. They're in good books. And they always make reference to it to say, little did we get to understand what each was going through. So this is another challenge that we also see, that I don't take time to understand what you are going through. You also don't take time. And half the time we were finger pointing, accusatory language and everything else. So such a scenario, Glenda, requires both parties to understand, what's going through the other.
All right, so I was just thinking about it, coach, kuti dzimweni dzenguva wanano dzatiri kutonzwa kuti idzi dzaparara. Inawo yokuti apinda muwanano imomo handiti ane my expectations, and then reality hits, and then ofunga kuti this is what I didn't sign up for this. I'm out. Pamwe mari hadzichabatani sokubatana kwadzaita with boyfriend and girlfriend. Mataura now your constant emotion and chemistry. I say pana ari kuya panapa because mama mubvunza him coach kuti pana my expectations are ongoing now here uchipinda mwana. And what was the reality thereof, and how did you deal with it? Somebody even came through, says, I expected the sex life and the attraction to increase. It didn't. You can see kids work different work hours. Zaka affect. So this is someone's reality. Apinda achiexpecta kuti chemistry atinayo tichipinda muwanano zvichaita kuramba zviri pama-levels. But you also spoke about how you need to work at it. Because if you don't work at it, azvibude sokudaro, paita vana, paita basa, different work hours. How do we balance? How do you keep the spark alive?
Glenda, so this is one area to affect vanhu vakawanda, because when you're a girlfriend boyfriend, Glenda, it was the two of you. My responsibility is very little to almost nothing at times, and you had all the 24 hours almost yours. Of course, you'd go to work, and maybe the dating starts at campus, at college, at tertiary institutions, and it's the two of you. You're spending most of you 80% of the time together. But then reality, now you are both working different times now, and pressures as well. Once there's a child in the home, things also get to differ because there's attention that is required. But the in-laws also come in; they need the attention, extension of the family, and you get to find that your time thins up until the two of you really do not have that quality time together. And Glenda, like we are saying, the antidote to this, because this will definitely happen, but the antidote to it is to be intentional. Let's be intentional. The other time, Glenda, we were talking about the rituals, and I talked about the 777, and then I said, yes, we go out every Thursday, we eat out. And after every 7 weeks, we actually go out, drive out, and maybe after the 7th month, we go out really for a proper holiday, spend 2-3 nights, away. As long as there is some intentionality, you can maintain some quality contact between the two of you. But if you don't, you're going to find that your time is swallowed up, by either kids, your career, and your extension of the family, and that on its own creates now a very big void, emotional void, intimacy void, physical void between the two of you, and the gap increases, and that is then a source, the epicenter of greater now conflicts, because now you are no longer emotionally connected.
All right, somebody speaks about an expectation that they had getting into marriage. Anzi, I expected it to be just the two of us at first. And but then reality kicked in. Kwete warorwa, it's not just you and your husband, warora dzinzaroshe. And sakatanga kugara nehama dziri uyada kuenda kuchikoro. And early in our marriage. Ihama ikutshaga basa, and our home was opened up to relatives, yet we hadn't had so much time together. That's somebody's reality now.
Yeah, and Glenda, for us in the African culture, so to say, those notoitwa kunze sisi wako Glenda vakushanda kwaRareka saka chienda unogara ukoko uyu achiti akungopedza andika, and then zonzi imwe wacho ngaateere zvakare, and then you find yourselves now, and then you also want to balance, and kakawanda panoita kunga pane competition. Iwe waunza husband anounza relative yake, and there's also a relative from your wife's side who is on board, and you find you don't really have time to yourselves. So when you talk about quality time, as far as the 5 love languages are concerned, you won't have that, because each time you have someone that you need to attend to. And of course, it creates a very big opportunity, Glenda, for conflict, for distance as well, emotional distance, because you are always attending to other people's needs. Glenda, I just want to bring in finances as well, because we spoke about this. And I also want to say that finances don't only affect this fallacy or fantasy into reality from a perspective of where we had adequate to maybe having no financial stability at all. But what we have seen as well, you get into this relationship, maybe you are both at a university campus, tertiary level there, and then you get employed now, corporate space, and maybe one of you then gets a very good position, and the finances fluctuate, and this time they go up. So the lifestyle, Glenda, also shifts, and you find that whether it's the husband or the wife, now at work, what they expect you to do, attending these particular events, ceremonies, then it shifts the whole spectrum of the two of you. And because there's that particular difference, you also find that it becomes a very fertile space for reality hitting now, because you would spend most of the time together because you were like at par. But now because of the difference in positions at work, and the benefits that are related to these particular positions, then you also find that there's a change. It could be a change also in dreams, career, direction, and without a matching development, from the other partner, and this also becomes a source of a reality.
Pana arutaura panapa kuti hanzi inini my person wandanga ndinaye now an ex hanzi waka decide kuti I was not good enough for them anymore and needed to upgrade, and my levels actually asiyana. reality yangu was money can change someone. Tinge tisina mari tese tingokwangwaya tichienda kukwira makombi tiri kuhasla tikutaga kudidi pamwe tienda kubhodha chichichi munhu azosimukira paipai ona kuti malevels angu naglenda atosiyana akuwana mari akudhraivha mota ati ndakufangwa kuupgrade zvakutonetsa mwanano muya finances but dzawanda hadzina kudzikira but iyo mari inochinja munhu here kana kuti chii chinombonyatsoitika takatarisa mari nounhu hwomunhu muwanano specifically?
Pane yatinoti money personality, but research is clear, Glenda. We normally hear that mari kakawanda haichinje munhu, asi hanzi mari ino-amplifier what has already been in the person. So zvimwe zvinhu zvako, Glenda, hatizvione izvezvizvi because maybe wo mariwo ichiro pari right yozonge yazouya, Glenda tosakatoti ingati taimbotaura naye ka hachatauri naye hachatauriki naye hachaita sei. So zvinongonzi mari zvainongoita ino-amplifier zvagara zviripo, saka it means zvinenge zviripo but zviri subtle, hazvisi kuoneka because maresources hapana. And Glenda, I also want to say to the listener that yes, izvozvo zvinoitika but ndo zvatoda kutaura isusu kuti from the expectations that are rigid to more flexible reality that you need to work on with. We are saying that my personalities evanhu anochinja, and Glenda, one of the areas that we need to attend to is personal development. There is no reason why one part should remain stagnated in life. So it means both parties pane responsibility yekuti inini ndiri kuzviimprovawo, ndiri kuzviupgrada, iwewe uri kuzviupgrada, so that tinofambirana. Iwewe ukazongoti inini shewe ndiriwo kuchengetwa, hapana chandichaita, shewe vachiramba vachiupgrada. Pane scenario yakadaro, Glenda. So this the husband was continuously on books, and the wife was stagnated. Until this guy, got to very high positions, and he was finding it difficult even to attend these very big events with the wife, and he wasn't feeling very comfortable because even personal development, grooming, deportment, and how to relate to each other, relate to even to others. Proper grooming, was also lacking, and it actually created a lot of tension. And until they actually parted ways because the upgrade was not there, and the other person felt no, this is not something that I can sort of live with. And this is true. Responsibility here, both of us, to continuously improve. Let's ensure that we are doing that. Glenda, I also wanted just to share that reality as well. We talk about responsibilities, multiple responsibilities. It could be careers, children, health issues. They also come in, and the blueprint that we had initially, it then becomes something else. And Glenda, like I'm saying, to me, the biggest false expectation, which is the fallacy that we are talking about, is that my partner will complete me, my partner will make me happy. So at times, Glenda, so this is what we are doing in dating, and we graduate with this type of notion into marriage now. And the truth, the other part will complete me. My partner will complete me. My partner will make me happy. Glenda, reality, it doesn't work like that. Maybe it's actually the opposite now. Frustration, disappointments, and so on. As you wakapinda on the expectation, I cannot be happy by myself. but I want someone else. I want my partner, to take care of my happiness. And we have always said that happiness actually comes from inside. You need to be able to derive happiness from inside yourself. And I say is the biggest false expectation, Glenda, and most of us do that. So at times it could be, Glenda has a nice job, and I think per marriage, Glenda nebasarake. So I'm saying you have to complete myself. It means I'm inadequate, but iwewe nebasa kana kuti nezvaunoita uchandi complete, and that it doesn't come to reality, to manifestation, and it actually shatters the relationship. And I want to say, yes, it is that. And maybe the second one, Glenda, that most of us, are challenged with, is the belief that marriage can follow a predetermined, idealized plan. Remember, Takati, I do, and we are saying, takati sisu in sickness, in health, and in what saka ndozvo zvatinenge tiinazvo izvozvo. Saka isusu tiri kufungira kuti my partner will do anything at their best to make me comfortable. Sikwakutozoona kutoti no marriage inga 2 years down the line is also die. And Glenda, of late, following very bad sad situations where maybe the wife gives birth to a child who has some disabilities, and kakawanda totozoona murume wacho atosiya, Glenda, and it's so painful. It's so painful, Glenda. Apa mamuri tu muchiwirirana, and it's not her fault. This is God. This is what you have been given, and ona munhu akutosiyiwa paya, and and we are saying, I was talking about idealized, programming of the marriage. But it doesn't really happen the way we set it to be. But in the event that is anxiety, guys, we must learn, to adapt, be flexible, and be able to support the other person.
I love how you speak about support, and what I've seen so many times when we hear situations where mabara mwana anorwara manorema vanobva vati kwedu hakuna zvakadai, otoenda otokusiya ipo instead of kuti muite come together. Ndo chipo chamapiwa naMwari, motambira. Zvinogona zvichirema, asi iye ndiye adi kutosapotana, because I don't know kuti now ye premarital counseling yatogara ichireva iya coach, because vanhu vanopinda vane expectation yekuti zvichava mutserendende, tichabara mwana uri right. It might not happen that way, and kuti mwana abarwa ane disability is no fault of anyone, so we should be coming together and love that child with all our being as a couple. But varume vakawanda vanotisa kwedu hakuna zvakadai. Pane imwe nhau futi iri kubudikira, ireality yabudikira muwanano, a difficult one now yekuti pari kushayikwa mwana, vekumusha vari kuti tiri kuexpecta muroora wakufangwa kupfira, and most of the time vari kufungidzira kuti aiwa bro mudzimai ndiye une dambudziko, asi akuziva kuti nemurume dzimweni dzenguva zviri kwaari zvakare. That reality, how easy is it? Maybe people would say kuti easier said than done, coach, andiziye tibatsirei ipapo.
Glenda, especially vanhu verudzi rwedu, Glenda, are very difficult, because expectations dzacho dzinenge dziripo, dzinobva kuna amwene chaivo kusvika kumadzitete, vachiti tauda kuona muzukuru, ko sei, ko inga gore zvarapera, chii chiri kuitika. And you see, because of our patriarch, Glenda, we need to be very open about it. There's always a thinking that the fault is on the wife's side, on the female partner side, and it's not at all. Azvina kutsvagwa, azvina kuita se vanototanga kutotaura, and pamwe pacho tinotonzwa amwe anenge ari madhirama, tonzwa kuti amwene vachiti saka muda kuti ndife here ndisina kubata kuisa pressure, on their son. Kuti no, kana zvisiri kuita, then look for something else. And Glenda, just recently I was excited to hear my testimonies evamwe vanhu vokuti no takagara 10 years, takagara 15 years, asi zvakazoita, in that particular time. And such people, Glenda, we really, really need to appreciate them, because we know our society is such a negative society. It puts so much undue pressure, on the couple, instead of giving them the necessary support. Vachivabatsira kuti dai maenda kwadoctor zvinoita zvakadai so, and zvimwe zvacho it's really very much exaggerated, and it's reality. And we are saying zvinenge zvinotonetsa kutambira, Glenda, kuti ayo kana zvisina kuita saka toita sei. But isusu tiri two, we might be in on the same page, tiri kunzwisisana.
But munoona zvimwe zvatiri kuzoona kwatina Shimukabe paya anenge ati anyenge nzorayotsvaga mumwe pamwe dambudziko harisi kwauri, vanotenda kuti aiwa dambudziko ripiwa mudzimai, vazama paya kumwe auya wototi handinayo nhumbu, uya wotodzinga mudzimai ndamumusha kwenyu, asi wazogara kwatina shoko kwanetsa
wosonza kuti
anenge anzwa kuti aiwa Glenda wakadzingwa
ndizvozvo
akati aiwa neplan pamweshe wasiwo ndova neproblem, unotsvaga wokuwinzira wakuchengeta samanyanga iwe uri mera moyo. We have seen how can couples deal with idzo now the infertility, subfertility, or how it's an issue, needs. How do you do?
And Glenda, I want to say that at times we don't put ourselves in the shoes even of the wife, as if kuti ndo zvaari kuda, isitongoti aiwa iproblem yake, as if it's a problem that you decide, Glenda, to say also this is what is happening. But we need to appreciate that it could be medical conditions that require both of you, to be worked on. And this is what I was talking about. Kuti, isisu takaona my couples tine 15 years. I was excited, and this particular couple had twins, after 15 years, and just recently someone was also saying after 7 years, look, we've been blessed with a baby boy, and it happens. But what I've seen, Glenda, is the right frame of mind, your psychological equilibrium, that you must be in a state where you are focusing. Usingaitwe pressure uchipangidzwa kuti no mese muri kunzwanana muchienda kwachiremba muchitaura zvakati motonzi zvakudai zvotogadzirika paya. So many a times, Glenda, varume vanopushwa nepressure kuti nosiya chienda kwakati, and zvawataura izvo zvazvia wozoenda apo vakuchengeta vasiri vavo, because munhu anenge atoitawo research pane inonzi marriage intelligence. Munhu wese anenge atoita intelligence kuti no, I think previously it was like this, so let me counter it with this. So the bottom line, Glenda, that we then highlight here is to say support, emotional, psychological, physical, and spiritual support to one another matters. As we go through, as we journey through all these things, we need to be able to support one another. And of course, Glenda, I would want to say, ngatigare takagadzira. Why tiri kuzotaura nenyaya dzakadai, Glenda? Tiri kutotaura kuti paite inonzi awareness, vanhu vatozive. And Glenda, you had pointed to something else. You had said premarital coaching or counseling. Does it really?
Coach, mapinda muwanano. What if paita dambudziko rokuti mwana haasi kubata, kana kuti paita dambudziko rokuti dzimweni dzenguva zvadai? What is happening? how are you going to deal? Kuba patuma scenario itoto. Maybe vanonyepa here and this what in your experience sitting down premarital coaching.
Glenda, if you look at the whole topic that we are covering today, ndo zvinhu zvinoda kutaurwa pa-premarital coaching or counseling. But the challenge inoitika Glenda, tingori nenotion yekuti aiwa 2 weeks patauda unochata pepe ndo patakuti ndo patakuenda ku-premarital and hapana zvichaitika Glenda zvakawanda. And to me, premarital counseling, it should actually extend, over quite a long period, because all these things, Glenda, we also want to talk about what is called midlife crisis, for example. When you turn 40, things begin to happen. And, we are comparing with other people, issues of your priorities, your health, your career shift, and so on are happening. Azvitaurike Glenda zvese zvatiri kutaura izvi azvitauri mu premarital counseling munongotaura kunzi saka magoals enyu aright here, muri kuwirirana here, kana conflict yazodai so mozodai zvoita kunga zviri as simple, but it is not. So ini ndoda kuti Glenda, we need more time. We need to have comprehensive premarital coaching sessions where we are covering all this, Glenda. We need to make things be in a place of being understood. They should actually learn this. Even isisu Glenda, the couples themselves, there could be chronic illness. I have just heard recently munhu akazotanga kuita chronic illness, but angari right. And pakutonzi pepe zvakunetsa muendesei kumba kwavo, anochengetwa kumba kwavo. And we are saying that is not it. We need to be told about these things, and we need mental readiness to say when it does come, so what are we going to do? It could also be pregnancy losses, Glenda. Nhumbi iri kubva iri kutombobata zvayo, but iri kubva dzikabva dziri 2 zvakutonzi aiwa pane chivanhu nezvekumba kwavo muendesei ukoko and so on. Just recently Glenda again, the wife akadevelopa I think akaita stress iri serious kubasa, ndobva aita these depression and everything. And the husband said kune atezvara pakuita problem mwana wenyu akudai. So ndataurwa natezvara bva vati ndo zvaari kuita, it's okay, ndakutora ndinorapisa. So tezvara vakatora bva vanorapisa and bva aita right, kubva adzokera kubasa vapromota. Tezvara akati aiwa hausi kudzokera vachauya. And now, because she was stable, nice job and so on, the husband was coming. And the Tezora said, you have to start all over again in the Kurora because this is what you should have done. You should have just taken her through, support her, and look, I didn't do anything. She went to doctors and you were aware of it, and she was given that particular support.
Mataura now miscarriages. Dzimweni dzenguva ine ichibata ichiramba achitadza kuzobatika mwana. I know a certain couple that went through could be 6-7 miscarriages. Zvoti murume akatanga achisupport mudzimai wake paanozosvika pa6-7 hama dzedza kuti wambozama. So yeah, that premarital counseling yakakosha kuti mupite bring up these scenarios, because this could happen. How do you tell when such happens? Let's quickly get into a voice note. Time's not on our side, Coach, but let's just hear what others had to say here. We're speaking about from I do to adjusting, the secret to longevity in marriage.
Hi, Glenda. It's Evans. Now I think it's societal pressure that causes all this, where one gets married and everyone seems to expect with mangwana ngakuve kuine mwana or within a year or within a set time frame. That societal pressure is always there, and it becomes worse where maybe your friends also get married the same time or married after you, and they get to receive the bundle of joy, and you are lagging behind. in the streets, whether you like it or not, zvinototaurika. In the dark corners, zvinototaurika. So I think societal pressure plays a big role, as it also sets expectations in marriage.
Thank you so much for that. Even a point that I thought as well, it's a dimension to this conversation. Coach, kuti muri kumabhaa kweyaka varume ndo varitodzara wangu chii chikunetsa ufai mablanketi chichi ende zvinogwadza murume mashoko anotara because society yakutoexpecta because pane wakaroora naye at the same time kwatova nebundle joy uko hakuna and society is talking. Not an easy one. Maybe somebody easier said than done, coach. No, Reva. It's not easy to be able to deal with that kind of pressure. Kashika kunamu kowewo akazo ane wana tu. Shwamba say murora chi and society knows unyanyo tipa pressure and say kuti bangani vanokwanisa kuita withstand that type of pressure.
It's not easy at all, Glenda. I agree with Evans. I think ataura chaizo asi Glenda nawo yandoda kudzokera kwa iri ndi nawo yawataura iwe pre-marital coaching counseling aiskuita zvakanaka. Glenda kana zvambotaurika, imagine muri kudates amakuita kana courtship mada kutopinda marriage, zvombotaurika kuti suppose zvaitika izvi, how are you going to handle? You see, when it does manifest later in your marriage, you are going to find that pfungwa dzenyu dzinombodzokera kuya. So even during the premarital coaching, when the coach or the counselor says, look, suppose this happens, suppose your partner loses their job, or suppose they get ill, how are you going to manage? So there is an opportunity to process these things, and when they do strike in terms of reality, there is some cushion. There's somehow, yes, it will be difficult, but you have some ways to navigate that particular path in a way that is not going to really negatively affect or impact on the other part. Let's have comprehensive marital coaching sessions. Let's not have Zubama sofa 2 minutes. All right. So and we don't talk about. Let's talk about these things in detail.
I would have loved to dig further into this one, but we've run out of time. But ndikupawa coach parikubatika ndisingaziwo zvangu kuti ndogona kutotaura kuti toti shiwe vauya nomumwe mwana you gotta deal with it ndogona kuti nekuti ndiri kuda wanano ndoda kutopinda but wozoona kuti ndamuta reality
azvisirizo mafeelings zvinenge zvasiyana mai because munenge madaiso. So yes, I understand you, Glenda, and but zvazvinoita kana zvambotaurika zvinombo isa pfungwa pa area iyoyo ende zvinokubatsirai. And Glenda, really as we come to the end, I want to say that we must fit our marriage, we must move from fitting our marriage into ideal structures, and we must now begin to create our own evolving blueprint together. I think that's one thing that I want to emphasize. And I'm saying our own, not compare nevamwe, our own yedu tiritu tinenge tichiongorora kuti zviri kufamba sei, blueprint yedu nemacircumstances edu haafanani, Glenda. Every marriage is unique on its own. It will never be the same. So we should appreciate and this habit of comparison with other people. Otona pamwe pato compare nema next door. Ma next door kwakazodaiso. No, blueprint yatikutaura nezvayo iyi ndenyu muri vairi, and tauranai, nzwananai, macircumstances enyu haana kutombofanana. Pane zviri general, but tiri kuti sisu let's focus on creating our own evolving. And we are saying evolving because we are saying this blueprint, Glenda, it will not be static. it will be dynamic, because we are continuously evolving as human beings as well. And as zvatiri kusangana nazo zvicharamba zvichingochinja from one stage, of marriage to another.
Hanzi, good evening, coach. Hanzi, pressure yacho inouraya munhu kunge peer pressure pamwana wechikoro zvinongoda focus. Coach, I think it's a great place for us to live at time, not on our side. But a very interesting conversation that we've had there. And I'm hoping that you have got a few takeaways from it. If you're getting into marriage, if marabuda muda kudzokera, zvimweni murimo, and you've seen the changes, you've seen how the expectations don't quite tally with the reality. How are you going to adjust moving forward to ensure we get to many, many more years together? We were talking about the hashtag from I do to we adjust, hashtag the secret to longevity. And it has been a great one. Thank you so much, Coach, for your time. How do people link up with you on social media?
Grandmaster Coach Duri on all social media platforms. Thank you. Very good night.
We calculate. 8. We elevate. 8. We innovate. But above all, we dominate. Happy Talk 100.4 FM at 8. Harari's Heartbeat. Hashtag dominate.